Going on, everybody. Navid Moazzez here. We are live for this special session. I haven't been live in a little while because I was building out this little studio here. So if you're coming on for this live stream, do let me know in the chat. If you're coming on for a replay, let me know in the comments. We are going to talk about how hosting virtual summit changed my life forever, and we are gonna switch it up a little bit for this session. I have actually my star student Merbani Ranchad here, and he is going to interview me and basically pull out my best secrets or kind of sharing my story a little bit and stuff like that. And if you want to learn more, we have also a masterclass I'm hosting. It's coming up actually pretty soon, so you can go to summitmasterclass.com to learn more about this. And obviously, if you're interested in virtual summit mastery and all this, but here you can ask questions if you're on live, or if you have anything that I'm saying during this session, feel free to let me know in the comments after for the replay session. I see Joachim coming on here, so fellow VSM student. I'm actually standing up. I'm really excited for this one. That's why I butchered almost my intro. I was like surprised to go live here. But we built out a little set here. We have it a little different. I'm in the same area as before actually, but we built a brick wall. We did a little different. So kind of trying to see how this works out here for this first session in a little while. So let's see. I'm gonna bring Merban on here, see if this is working. So what's going on, Merban?
Hey, not much, Navid. Thanks for having me. I really enjoy interviewing very successful people like yourself, and so it's definitely great to be here, and it's going to be fun to find out a lot about you and the great things you've done and how your program has helped a lot of people like myself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to be honest, I've never, I've interviewed a lot of students, and if you see here on my YouTube channel, if you're actually, if you're coming on here, feel free to subscribe, like this video and all of that. But we have a lot of successful students that I've featured before during interviews, like a Virtual Summit Secret series. I've done many sessions before on about virtual summits, the step-by-step process and all this kind of stuff. So you can find this on the channel as well here. And in the description, I've actually linked some really valuable resources for you. But in this session, maybe if you've been following me for a while, you might not know all of these things we're gonna share here today about how I got started, how Virtual Summit really changed my life. I've actually not just used Virtual Summits for my business. I've actually used it to go into other things as well, which I'm not really talking too much about kind of in my email newsletter and all this kind of stuff. So we might get into some of this as well here. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know or Merban know here in the chat, and we can get to that as well. But now I think I'll leave it over to Merban. I don't know what he has for me. I saw like he sent me a long list of things here right before. So I haven't really prepared for this, guys. So this is kind of, off the cuff, but that's kind of how I wanted to do it here to make it more authentic and, hopefully more valuable to you as well here. So Merban, leave it over to you.
Awesome, Navid. Well, like I said, I'm really excited to dig into your background and to educate everybody about, the path of a very successful entrepreneur. And, you've generated tens of millions of subscribers and millions more in revenue for your students. And so I wanted to start off, in the past, obviously, to ask you, at what point in your life did you decide to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a great question because I wasn't really meant in the beginning, at least, to be an entrepreneur. I was going through the traditional path. My dad is from Iran. My mom is, and he's a doctor. My mom is a teacher, Swedish. So I'm kind of grew up in Sweden, and I was just going through this traditional path, like playing a lot of sports growing up. I guess my dad's biggest dream was that I was going to become a doctor, dentist, or engineer, or possibly a lawyer, or something like this. That's kind of the four different things you can become if you're Iranian. Iranian, like you,
Yeah,
you know
I
all
know it.
about this, Marwan. We are, you know all
Right.
about this. The Iranian, parents, or at least in my case, my dad. So it was a little bit challenging. I didn't really have this growing up, but at least I felt inspired. It was always like you are meant to do something. And, that's kind of what I started after, being in US for 1 year during high school and then graduating. I just went right into law school, to be honest, and didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of, okay, this seems to be a good path to make some money. That's kind of what I was thinking at the time. I was not really passionate about this or anything like this. It was just kind of, okay, I got in there. I didn't get into medical school or dental school or anything like that, but I got into the law school in Sweden, which is kind of difficult. So I got in there and just started and passed my year and year passed by basically, and I was studying and nothing really. I mean, I was getting somewhat good grades, but then after a while I started traveling more and I wasn't really going to classes. And then I met some inspiring entrepreneurs eventually in Sweden that were traveling through Sweden in the summers, and I was like, okay, how are they doing this? They were they were lifestyle entrepreneurs. They were running kind of lifestyle businesses, some of them in the hundreds of thousands a year, some millions, some eight figures a year. And I was like, how are they doing this and having such a cool life? And then I started to stumble across, that was like 2010 or so, actually. So it was kind of, many years before I actually got my start in 2013. And then basically what happened after that, I met them a few years and I was like, okay, how are they doing this? But it was until 2012, I actually met a mentor through a forum, I think, in, internet marketing or something. And I started, okay, finding out more about myself. Still procrastinated a lot. I didn't take really too much action, to be honest. And then, read the books, Think and Grow Rich, 4 Hour Work Week, all this kind of stuff. I did all of this, but I didn't take action. But then it was a horrible moment in my life when my younger brother, he suddenly passed away. I mean, this has been quite some time ago now, but I still, hits me every year. And, when his birthday and stuff like that is really difficult. And especially for my mom, still hasn't gone, didn't, I mean, you can never get over something like this. It's so horrible. But he's always with me. And he passed away April 4th, 2013. And I was devastated. I was actually just coming home from a really fun trip with friends. And then I was in a student dorm at the time. I lived in a student dorm in Stockholm, the capital of Sweden. And I've rented out some rooms. I kind of was hustling at the time a little bit on the side to make some extra money. And then I get this phone call from my mom that you don't want to get. And obviously this is not something you make up. And I was like, damn, I haven't done anything to take action in my life, really. I mean, I've been in law school and stuff, and I started small steps, but I didn't really put anything out there. And that's when I made the decision, no matter what, I'm going to make this work and kind of, do something for, obviously, my brother who passed away. He was just 22 years old, his whole life in front of him. And then my parents, my mom always supported me. My dad, that's probably not something I would say he supported me. It was kind of a little bit difficult at the time with, saying I'm going to drop out of law school at the end of 2013 there. But, I didn't have a business plan or anything like that. I just started interviewing people and I looked for an opportunity with when Pat Flynn came out with his book, Let's Go, I looked for an opportunity and just reached out to him. And he said, yes. I didn't have any relationships. I'm from Sweden, there's no one pretty much doing what I'm doing. And now it's more people. There's some more YouTubers and stuff like that. There's definitely some more people coming out. But there's not really a lot of people from Sweden doing what I'm doing and what people in the US and some other countries are doing. That doesn't exist. There's not really a big community. So I was kind of alone. I didn't have money to go to any events and stuff like that. So I just turned to the online stuff and just started reaching out to people, quite frankly. And that's kind of how I got my start. It was not with summits. If I knew about summits at that time, I wish I would have, got into that earlier, because that's kind of how I could have made my business take off a lot sooner. And I would call it more of a hobby when I started, not really a business. So that's kind of when I got into, okay, now I'm on the path. I'm going to make this work no matter what, even if it takes me 6 months or 5 years, I'm going to pull through and make this work. So yeah, that's kind of how this, came to be and how I started. That's when I started. First, navidmoazzez.com. Now it's navidm.com. So we simplified this a little bit for you in case you can't spell my last name. So that's how we did it.
Well, it's super inspiring, Navid. And I'm sure that your brother is looking down very proud of you for all that you've accomplished. And yeah, it's really important that we all have our reasons that wake us up every day and keep us going in our whatever endeavors we have. And so, obviously you mentioned that you didn't right away when you started your entrepreneurship journey go into virtual summits. I was curious about your trajectory and what types of things you started first, because I know that most entrepreneurs, they kind of find their path, and obviously you did too. So what did you do before you jumped into virtual summits?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first thing I did was really with my blog, and kind of you. Actually, I was kind of with the YouTube videos a little bit there because I didn't know how to interview someone when Pat Flynn kind of came on board for that first interview. I had no idea how to set up a Skype interview. I mean, you can go back. I actually have saved that interview on my channel if you really want to see how horrible I was. I'm not considering myself the best or anything like that now, but I've improved a lot since the very beginning. So
Mhm.
like my setup now is night and day how I started. I was like
Yeah.
in my student dorm or student apartment and like setting up my, little, I didn't think I had a webcam. I think I used a MacBook camera or something like this. And I had no microphone and I had no practice before I did that first session. But I
Yeah.
published it and, people liked it. I mean, I cringe when I watch that today. I try not to, but I just tell you here, if in case you haven't done an interview or something like this before, which kind of I mean, it was scary for me, but I'm sure if you haven't done anything like this, it's going to be scary the first time, but then you can just kind of push through there. So I started with a blog. I did kind of a writing challenge a little bit. English is not my native language, so I wanted to, push myself a little bit with this and, get better. And now, I make quite a lot of money for affiliate marketing through my blog. I get traffic through my different blog posts for virtual summits and other things on my blog. So this is something I've learned over time. It was not something I knew when I started out. I knew nothing. I had no skills basically when I started. I mean, I'm not using really any skills from law school besides maybe research is something you learn a little bit in law school, but which I'm pretty good at. But that's something I'm more curiosity driven. That's kind of why I'm doing that. So yeah, that's kind of with the blog. And then a lot of people were talking about podcasting. I'm sure. I mean, I joined a few courses and whatnot. Found John Lee Dumas. I found kind of this good community online of people doing great stuff. Pat Flynn, John Lee Dumas, and some other people, Lewis House, and all of them. I found them. So I found like a good crowd to kind of see kind of what they were doing at a time because they have been doing it a few years longer than me. So I started following them, and a lot of people said start a podcast, which I kind of did. I had some sessions. Like it was called the Lifestyle Architects. Actually, still I think in iTunes. I'm not really focusing on that right now, but that was something I did before. And before I did summits, and then I saw a lot of health summits and stuff like that come to be. And that's kind of when I thought, okay, I'm not really making that much money, or if any money. I got some coaching clients, some affiliate revenue here and there from my blog at the time, but I didn't really get much traffic. It's very difficult to grow a blog, when you're starting out. It's actually pretty costly. And now I have it down to a science with, I'm writing some stuff, but I also have writers who can replicate kind of what I want to convey. So that is obviously not cheap. So blogging, I think it's great, but it's organic. I love the organic methods. I love YouTube and all of this, but you want to grow your email list very quickly and you want to build a targeted audience. And how can you do that? I mean, in my case, I saw the health summits. They were growing tens of thousands of subscribers, and some of them generating hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in revenue. And then I thought to myself, maybe I can do something like this. I had no experience with it, but I'm going to figure it out. So that's kind of how I re-engineered some of the health summits. That was initially how the branding summit came to be. So yeah.
Awesome, Navid. Yeah, I have some questions about the branding summit as well, but yeah, I guess we'll jump into that. And I was curious about, you saw these health summits, and you obviously very smartly decided that, hey, I can really supercharge my business, like you've helped a lot of other people do. So then, what did you do next? How did you figure out all these amazing steps that you've then distilled for all of us to then follow afterwards?
Yeah, I mean the first summit, it was not really, I mean, I wouldn't say I had any steps for it. It was like more like I was doing it, like I was, seeing what other people were doing a little bit. And I would say it took me a long time to do it. I didn't have any templates. You Merban, you used all my templates. I mean, we have hundreds of students using my templates, right? We have templates for all the pages now and all this. I had none of this. I had to actually, I was working actually with my designer who creates all these templates at a time, and he was not as good and like that was in 2014. That was kind of when he maybe had 1 or 2 years of experience designing. Now he has a full team and stuff, and we create all this for our students. But when I got my start, I had none of this, but I did pretty well the first summit. I had only, before I did that, took me a few months like to put it together because I, one thing led to another. I eventually had 88 speakers for that summit. I don't recommend that, by the way. I'd recommend you have maybe 20 to 30. That could be enough, maybe even less depending on the niche, right? But I had 88 for that, so it took me a little bit longer to do the sessions. It was good for relationship building, but it was a little bit exhausting, if I'm gonna be honest, to do all of these. But I learned a lot, and before kind of the summit launched in November of 2014, I had right around 900 subscribers. I've started a little bit making a little bit more money from affiliate marketing, but it was nothing major. Like I promoted Ramit Sethi and some other people, and it did okay, but it was really when I launched that summit, I saw, right away, starting getting, hundreds of subscribers a day, like from pretty much nothing. And I grew that during kind of November. December was a 30-day summit. I don't recommend that long either. I recommend usually, 5 to 7 days now. That's kind of the sweet spot I found working really well. But what I did was a 30-day summit the first time, and I wrote the emails basically as I went along, and people really liked it actually, really enjoyed that first one. And I enjoyed it too, besides kind of the stressful part there. But I got 3,000 email subscribers, roughly 3,000, and I got $20,000 in profit from that first summit. But that's not really what is the most exciting part. I mean, that was great. I actually quit my job. Oh, during that summit, I just almost forgot that. During that first summit, I got one person to buy 50 passes. Actually, she bought it for a company, or that person bought it for a company. And it was basically the last day. I turned in my resignation for my job, my notice. And I was not really a good employee at the end, because I was like just focusing on the summit, working. I was like on the job, I was like sitting almost like when the boss wasn't looking, I was I was checking the other computer to see if I got sales or if something was wrong or something like this. But I was doing that. And and then basically I got a $5,000 payment on the day I quit my job. That was November 28th, 2014. Since then, I never worked for someone else, which is really exciting. And actually, November 27th is my younger brother's birthday. Who passed away. So it's just like right around the same time I have my kind of anniversary for quitting my job, which is great, which is great for me, but it's also like a good memory for my brother, and also for me, pushing forward and doing this. And then I got even more sales during the summit, and then I moved abroad. Decided to enough is enough. I didn't want to live in Sweden anymore. I didn't really feel aligned with kind of some of the stuff going on there, and the government and stuff like that. I didn't really like how it's working. It's really a great country in other ways, but I was not really feeling connected to most of the people over there. So I wanted to kind of travel the world, and I went actually to Cabo San Lucas. That was the first thing I did after that summit. And what's really exciting is what happens after a summit, right? It's not really about, okay, you're making $20,000 from the summit. I mean, I can't retire on that. I only had, when I quit my, I think when I quit my job, maybe I had $10,000 or something on my account. Obviously, some payments didn't come in right away because I had a had a really bad payment system at the time. But I think I used Deal Guardian or something. It was not the best, so it was kind of delayed payments. So I didn't get everything right away. But yeah, so I started traveling right away after. Maybe I had like 15,000, then more came in, and I promoted Ramit Sethi as a Zero to Launch program, which he had at the time. And I made $32,000 in affiliate commissions right after the summit. So in the back end of the summit, I promoted something else which is aligned with my audience, and I basically won that affiliate competition. I only had like 3,500 people or something on my list active, and the other people had like 30,000 to 100,000 people on their lists, because I had a summit list, right? I had an email list of buyers. That's what I had, and the other people maybe didn't have an engaged list, whatever. So that's kind of how I did it. How I was able to win that affiliate competition, got 32,000 in commissions, and then I got 7,500 or something like that in the cash prize, and over $40,000 in January. So that's basically catapulted my business to six figures very quickly, from like in maybe 27,000 or something like that in 2014, and then over 200,000 then in 2015, and then it's grown from there. So that's kind of a little bit of the backstory how that came to be.
That's awesome, Navid. I mean, great work, obviously. And then, so chronologically speaking, you did the branding summit, and then you were successful, and then you had amazing affiliate promotions. And then where did VSM come in relation to your other summits that you've also personally hosted? Did you host a couple more first and then create
Yeah.
VSM, or did you create VSM first?
Yeah, that's a great question because I didn't want to like be the person to just launch a course. I had one success, right? And I didn't,
Mhm.
I launched, like people asked me, hey, Navid, can you teach me how to do this? And I was kind of reluctant a little bit in the beginning, but I put out like a pilot. It was so cheap, so no one would ever complain if I didn't like pull through, or because I had never experienced with creating a really in-depth course or anything like this. But I said, okay, why not? But I started getting more clients, and one of my biggest ones, I would say, or kind of I became more known after taking on this client, and that's kind of how I tested a lot of different strategies that kind of became the 1.0 system of virtual summit mastery. Now we're on like the 3.0, even like 3.5. I mean, I don't know. It's really, it's been a while, we have been doing this. So I took on Chandler Bolt as a client of self-publishing school. And at a time, now you might see him all over the place. You might know him, you might not, but either way, he's pretty successful. He's grown his business very quickly to like the 8-figure level. And summits, basically, that was kind of the way that catapulted his business, because when he came to me, he had a low 6-figure business, about 10,000 subscribers, and he wanted to grow. He wanted to basically grow his course, self-publishing school. So we decided to host the self-publishing success summit together. And that's kind of he was the host. I was kind of behind the scenes with my team and stuff like that, and we pulled it together. And our goal was to get 10,000 subscribers from that summit. But we got 30,000 subscribers, roughly 30,000. And then from the All Access Pass was around, I think, 120, 130,000. And the rest came from the back end. So in total, we got about $350,000 in sales for that summit, basically, with the All Access Pass and back end sales. And then he launched it again, and he got a few 100,000 more in sales. And like very quickly grew that to the $1 million level, to the 7-figure business. And then he did it the year after. So 2 summits kind of that he hosted with my system, he got over 60,000 subscribers, right? And then took him to the $1 million level in his business, multiple millions of dollars. And that's not it's all good, the email subscribers and the revenue, but the relationships with the people, they started promoting for him. They started promoting for his course. That's kind of what's really exciting, because they got success promoting his summit, kind of like what you've done, Merban, actually, because you have built a lot of great relationships in the tennis niche, and now they're all promoting your summits and stuff like that. It's kind of what happened with Chandler, because he had the products the speakers had, they complemented what he's doing with kind of, with the books and stuff like that, and helping people write books and become a bestseller. So that's kind of how it worked. And I just kind of did what I do best, and I helped him put together the first summit, and then he took my VSM program the second time around with his team, and that went equally as well. So that's kind of what I did before the first kind of version came out of Virtual Summit Mastery. But like after my first summit was like a pilot for a long time where I tested a lot of things. And then in September of 2015, that's kind of when Virtual Summit Mastery was launched the first time. But it's nothing like what you guys see today. I've gotten so much better. I've like invested so much money in the templates, and you have no idea how much time we have spent on all these email templates that our students are getting in this program. I'm even using the whenever I do a summit or something like this. I have List Building School. Obviously, it's an evergreen summit. We have listbuildingschool.com, and that one is doing pretty well. And that basically is just the templates we provide in our program. Some of them, we obviously is tweaked and stuff like that, but we're giving similar templates to our students basically that are proven to work. And we have tested them also with our students. So it's like hundreds of different niches and stuff like that. So pretty exciting, but it was not like that in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can say I've really benefited a lot from all the resources and the templates too. They just cut down the time so much. You just import it and then change a few things, change some colors if you want, and that's it. And Navid, I was wondering if you could kind of give us like some numbers. People love numbers, right? So
Yeah.
approximately how many subscribers and revenue that you think you've generated for your students?
Oof. Over the years, I've obviously it's hard to know exact, but I know for a
Yeah.
fact that we have generated tens of millions of dollars in revenue for our students, and millions of email subscribers. That's no doubt. I mean, I'm seeing some students doing like 60,000 subscribers from just one summit, so it's not so hard to know. Like, we have hundreds of students going through this program, hundreds of students. Obviously, we have roughly, I think in the community, is a little over 700 or so in there. Obviously, not everyone goes through the program, but we have pretty high success rate, if I can say so myself, because we have all these templates and stuff. It's like no excuse. It's really on you if you don't take action. Obviously, you have to stick with it. Like, one of my most successful students, actually, Mitch Asser, didn't do amazingly well from his first summit, but he would be the first to tell you that he actually didn't really follow the process that well the first time around, or actually the first two or even three times. And then he found his niche, and like really specific niche, like kind of even what I did with the branding summit. If I would do it over, I wouldn't really do, there was like a lot of different topics. I would go more specific. There's obviously exceptions to the rule, but if I can do it like a specific summit that is aligned with whatever you want to do. Kind of beyond that, like if you have an online course or something, then you want to make sure the summit is aligned with that, so you can sell on that. Maybe you have a membership site, maybe you have a coaching program, whatever you want to do. The summit should be the first step in the customer journey, and that's kind of how you want to position it. And that's how I don't think I did that well with the branding summit for this, but it obviously was the early days, so it still worked out. It was a different summit in the way that it had more speakers, never been done before. Now, since I done it, many people like copied this and tried to do 100 speaker summits and stuff like that. I don't think they can work if it's like a big influencer or something, but I think it's more stressful for someone starting out. I think it's better to do like maybe 20 to 30 speakers. You want to have a few speakers so you make sure you can get some promotion behind it. So I had basically the speakers from my first summit. They promoted it. They promoted the summit to their audience. Not everyone, but a good percentage of them promoted, even though I was not really organized or anything like that. I didn't have the templates or all this perfect swipe I provide in Virtual Summit Mastery. Nothing of that. I was like, I was basically winging it. I was trying my best to to launch this first summit and do well.
Awesome, Navid. I can personally attest. I've leveled up just like you leveled up the program, starting from like 3,000 subscribers to 5,000 to like 6,000, and then this past year I got almost 14,000 subscribers, and it's just been really great working inside your program and with the members. And speaking of which, I mean, can you kind of give the viewers just an overview of like what types of resources they're actually going to be exposed to if they were to join the VSM community?
Yeah, I mean, in VSM, this is not like a sales pitch or anything like for VSM, but if you are interested, it's a pretty great program. A lot of people have gone through it with great success, but we provide basically all the resources you need. Obviously, the step-by-step training is there. The community aspect is there. It's the biggest virtual summit community in the world. If you want to actually align yourself with people like Merban and other people who have done successful summit, not just once, but multiple times, that's an amazing resource. But then also we provide done for you templates for different builders like Thrive Architect. We provide for Divi, Elementor, the WordPress builders. We provide for Kartra. We provide for ClickFunnels. We provide for automations for active campaign convert kits, and we provide all the done for you email templates. Fill in the blanks, so it's real easy for you. So I couldn't have made it any easier for someone to do this. Like, I mean, there's many I take a lot of programs myself because I like to, I invest in myself. I'm not just, selling a program or doing summits or stuff like that. I invest a lot. One of my, something I'm learning right now more is I'm learning about photography because I have a lot of gear and stuff. So I figure I should probably learn a little bit more about this. So I'm taking courses on this. Like, I'm going to take workshops. I'm going to go travel to, cool destinations. That's kind of my next chapter, a little bit what my business has enabled me to do. Like, I now have, it's quite good money. Obviously, I've invested in different things. Not just this. The summit is great. When I started my business, was not only to, okay, I help a lot of people, but at the same time, I can invest so I can do other things outside of kind of this business, so I can start other businesses with the money I have made from virtual summits and affiliate marketing and primarily virtual summits. That's kind of my three biggest income sources that I've built this business: affiliate marketing, virtual summits, and the online courses, obviously. it's been very successful for me. So that's kind of what it's been. And I think in the program, you get a lot of different resources that actually not just information, it's actually stuff that's going to help you implement what you learn. That's going to put it to action, and you're going to actually make sure your summit is a lot more professional. Yes, there are, summit softwares and stuff like that. I mean, great, but I've seen all of this. I've gone through it. If something is great, I actually recommend it to my students. I'm not just for one platform or for one tool or something like this.
Mhm.
I've never been like this because that's why I provide for different people. Like I spend every money on Kartra myself, a subscription. I spend every money $297 a month on ClickFunnels, $99 a month on Kartra. I spend on all these other tools. Even though I don't use everything, I spend to be able to create templates for my students. That's how I spend out of my own pocket, basically, in my business, obviously. But still, I spend the money to be able to provide these templates for my students. So that's kind of how we've done it since the beginning. I think that's the best combinations what we provide in the program, and you can't really go wrong if you have any of that.
Yeah, awesome overview, Navid. And I mean, back to your lifestyle. I just am curious to see and inform the viewers like of you comparing your lifestyle like before you were an entrepreneur versus now, and maybe a typical day. What's that like? Just to kind of give some inspiration for what people can actually get their lives to be like. If they put in the hard work and follow proper systems and get to a decent level in their business,
Yeah,
like
I
you
mean,
are.
obviously, there's no magic bullets or anything like this. I'm not for this. There's other people who flash with Lamborghinis and stuff like that. I've never been that person. Never gonna be. I mean, maybe at some point I drive one, but doesn't mean I will flash like and do ads with my Lamborghini and stuff like this. If I do that at some point, maybe you can call me out on it. But I have never done something like this until that point and until now. Even though I could afford it, I could buy one. I could go to the dealer. I could buy like $100,000 car, $200,000 car if I wanted to, but I don't do it. I value other things. I value experiences. I just moved
Mhm.
to Panama, for example. So I guess it's been a little bit of a lockdown time here, but now we are opening up. So last few months, I hired a personal trainer, comes to my home every single day. We're working out, so I'm getting better in shape. We built a little home gym. Now my gym in this building, which I live in a very nice building here in Panama City, and breathtaking view. If it was like better weather, I could probably show you. Maybe one day I can show you the view. It's like just seeing all the boats and all the things waiting for the canal here. It's kind of my view here from my office and from my living room. So that's kind of what the business has enabled me to do. And obviously, in the day, now that Panama open up, and we're gonna go learn surfing. I'm going on a road trip probably in the next 30 days or 30, like depending on how you have now with VSM. That's always like what you have to balance, because you have to live. Sometimes you don't have like the internet connection. So I'm always trying to be live to be able to answer questions and stuff like that. So I've been a little bit careful to go off the grid and stuff like that with my students, so be able to be active in the community and stuff. But sometimes you gotta take some time off and kind of do things you enjoy, and be in the outdoors and stuff. That's kind of one of the reasons I moved down here to Panama. And obviously the residency is great here. So that's kind of some things, because now I can get tax benefits because of my business being situated in, I have my business in the US, but my tax residency is in Panama, and my official kind of permanent residency is here in Panama too. So I just got that approved a few days ago. So that's pretty exciting, and can just kind of travel. South America is great, Latin America, all over the world. I want to travel even more. That's kind of stuff that online business, I could never do this with a job. Like 4 weeks, maybe we get in Sweden 5 weeks. I forgot. I forgot. Maybe it's 5 week vacation, 4 weeks. I don't know. In the US, probably less sometimes. So yeah, you couldn't do this with a regular job, but with what I have, the lifestyle and online business, whether you do summits or not, like with an online business, making money online, you can basically take off, because you can work on the road as long as you have an internet connection. Obviously, don't go too off grid when you're doing that. Like I have some dreams. I want to go to like the Mount Everest base camp. I want to go hiking in Patagonia and to Greenland. I want to go to all these like crazy destinations. That's kind of, I don't know, this year I set a goal when I was in lockdown. I was like, I want to go to all these crazy destinations that are, no, quite some people are going to some of them, but I want to go to visit Iran even, because that's my dad's country. I've never
Yeah.
been there, so I want to. It's a beautiful country, So I want to go see that. Maybe even Afghanistan and some kind of unique places like this, and I want to document it on a different different YouTube channel possibly and start exploring that. We'll see. But that's kind of what an online business can let you do, because I make, whether or not I'm working, I make money every single week, thousands of dollars, every month I make, tens of thousands of dollars. So I don't have to really stress too much over this. That's kind of what I've done over the years. I built a long-term business because I have a lot of successful students. So that's kind of how.
Awesome, Navid. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's with some hard work and dedication and vision, you can achieve a great lifestyle for yourself that you've always wanted. But like we've said, it takes a lot of hard work. And I'm curious, how are you able to continually be an action taker and get your work done and be disciplined, despite having the freedom to do whatever you want? Because that's obviously key. Otherwise, the business wouldn't go down the tubes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's hard sometimes, because now I moved a lot during. I think if I didn't move anything during these years, I probably would have been even more successful, because it was very expensive. Some of the moves I made some stupid mistakes in the high five figures and even like almost six figures, that like wasted pretty much down the drain. That's some mistakes I made, and still I kind of always bounce back. I always, it's have some money invested, have some savings. I mean, I'm pretty good at this, but I could have been better at some of this, like, yeah, obviously learning from my mistakes and stuff like that over time. But yeah, I mean, taking action is difficult, especially when you're kind of moving and stuff. But now, like, I think it's like having a good space to get your work done is important. That's why I'm kind of been, I feel more inspired when I'm in a good space. That's just me. Maybe you can work wherever, but for me, whenever I have a good space, maybe I have a great view. Maybe I can sit on the terrace working on my laptop. Now I'm on here on my iMac and in this kind of studio space, which I kind of built out here in my apartment. But wherever it is, I want to feel inspired, and then I'm pretty productive. But kind of not being, when you go on social media, not being a person who just kind of scrolls through the feed, but rather engaging. That, I mean, let's say you want to connect with speakers, like that, and you're just basically, instead of wasting time and you seeing, okay, X speaker having, or the influencer having a live stream, maybe you can just comment on that. Maybe you being one of the few people or many people, whatever it is, that engages. But I'm sure if they have a 10,000 viewers, there's not, maybe it's a few hundred people who comment, maybe 1,000, but still it's not going to be every one of the people on live who leave a comment. That's kind of how it is. Even on stuff like this, we don't have so many, because I just let you know like last minute for this kind of stream here. But even these things, I see some people commenting here in the chat. If you're on here, you can let me know if you have any questions and stuff like that. Then I know you're here. Then I know if you're joining, let's say, VSM in the future, then I know, okay, who you are a little bit. I know kind of what you do. And if someone like invites me to a summit, for example, then if they are a student, it's more likely I do so. That's why I've invested personally in a lot of programs, and then it's been easier for me to connect with other people as well. And it's kind of being surrounded by people who are action takers themselves. That's kind of very important. And that's why seeing, like, when whether you are interested in BSM or something else, it's good to be in a community. It's good to invest in yourself. I think that's something I've done over the past few years. I'm going to continue to do that in different things. Sometimes it's more in the business side, sometimes it's more in the personal side. Like I said, I invested in a personal trainer. It's not that expensive, but it's still like I'm paying maybe $750 or something like that a month for 5 days a week now, which I'm sure is more expensive in the US or Canada or UK, for example. But we're in Panama here, so it's a little bit cheaper. Panama is not a cheap place. Like, food is a lot more expensive than US and stuff. The rent is not really that cheap, probably more expensive than some areas in the US even. But yeah, and then also I invested in a chef. So a chef comes and prepares my meals. That's something also I
Amazing.
can do, because save time, and that's a really good person. She cooks really healthy meals and stuff like that. So that's some stuff I've been able to do as well.
That's amazing. Definitely a dream life, but it's not, that far away. I mean, you've heard already that Navid, he started by, attending law school and, regular school like normal people do, but then he found that vision and passion and then was able to turn it into this amazing lifestyle. So Navid, you've obviously been surrounded by a lot of amazing entrepreneurs and other people, and you've had some great mentors. So I wanted to ask you, maybe what are one or two things that you've learned from them, that you found most valuable and that you've applied consistently as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously had a lot of mentors, but it's like like don't be afraid of like there's really no failure if you don't give up. I don't know who said it to me or something like that, but I think that's a good way to see it. Let's say you're gonna fail along your entrepreneurial journey. I've failed many different times. I've made bad mistakes and stuff like that, but the only way you can really fail at something is if you give up. Like if I, let's say I wanted to host my first summit, but I halfway through actually I had fears of going through with this for my first summit, even for my second summit, which got over 26,000 subscribers and it went on to make over $1 million in revenue, that summit over time. I had still fears before I launched it. You know, what people are going to say, are they going to promote it, and all this kind of stuff. But it's really, you can't, like, if you just push through with what you're doing, you're not gonna fail. You know, like don't just kind of give up along the way and just set a goal. You might not succeed in 1 month, in 6 months, or even 1 year. It might take you a few years, but if you really want to do this, then you're gonna push through at this. You know, it might for you, maybe you have a comfortable job. I mean, Merban has a very comfortable job as well, but he's still, he's still, you know, he actually didn't quit. I don't know if he quit his job yet, but maybe he can share. But he has, you know, done really well with his summits in the six-figure level still, and he had built a very good side income. So maybe that's you. Maybe you have a comfortable job. I didn't really have like the best career or anything like this. I mean, I was in law school and I was working at the bank at the time, which I kind of quit. That was not really a good salary or anything I was walking away from. So I was willing to take more risks, but and I didn't really have a backup plan. But if you have family and stuff, I completely understand. You can just walk away from something like that and just say quit. But you need to be a little bit, take some risks in your life. I mean, starting a business is a risk in any way. But if you have a job and you can invest some of the money you're making from your job into the tools you need in your business, into, let's say, a course that you might need to start that business. Maybe if you want to host summits, then we have obviously a great course in Virtual Summit Mastery or something else, right? So that's kind of how you want to see it. You can see it as an advantage as well. Like it might, in some ways, it's an advantage to have something like that. If you don't, that is also an advantage because you might maybe gonna have more time on your plate to actually put this together. I think if you have a job, you can hire a VA, you can hire some people to actually do some work for you very cheaply. And I think that's kind of how you did it a little bit, Maribon,
Mm-hmm.
the early days as well there. So yeah, that's kind of what I've learned. I mean, that's one of the biggest one. I've learned a lot, obviously, but if you just take this one, you're probably gonna succeed. And you know, because you're not gonna give up. You know, that's kind of the only way. If you give up, then you fail. If you don't, just kind of keep going.
Yeah, amazing, Navid. So wondering if you don't mind to actually maybe delve into just one specific, like what you'd call a failure, and then how you're able to actually push past that and succeed, afterwards.
Well, I've had a few different things, but it's particularly like for, there's maybe been a launch. I was having such good momentum for, I was doing, I think it was like list building school 1.0 that was in 2016. Then I was like having such good momentum. Then it was a launch in 2017. I was like moving to London. There was a lot of things that I was doing at the time. And I came up to that launch. I thought, okay, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to do like, I still did well, like I did in the, low six figures for the launch, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna do like 300K, 400K for the launch. That didn't happen because I didn't prepare as much. Didn't really push forward as much for kind of pre-launch content and stuff like that with this. So that was kind of a bummer because I was like, okay, I was like in a mastermind at a time and stuff like this. So I wanted to share that success story, like how I, how I like crushed it. And I was so disappointed. I still remember, like, I didn't really share that too much, but I mean, I shared it with him and stuff like this. We still did well. I was not like, completely devastated, and going under or anything like that financially because I've always kept my business pretty lean, pretty good profit. Now I think the profit margin is like 85% or something like this. I mean, I have a small team, like great team from Philippines. I have some other people. I work with GP. Obviously, that's probably my expensive person with the designers and stuff like that for my students that we are creating templates, and my website, which you've seen maybe navidm.com, which costs quite a bit of money to do all of this work. But other than that, it's pretty high profit business. And, when I had a failure like this, I can bounce back pretty quickly. I've seen people in the space that have a launch that doesn't go maybe as planned, and they have to fire their entire staff or something like this.
Mm.
It doesn't go well because they don't have great profit. Some people, you'll be surprised. Don't believe everything you're hearing. Not even what I'm saying sometimes, but hopefully if you're on here, you might trust me a little bit. I'm not really, I'm just a guy from Sweden, right? Who had a dream and made some things happen. I'm not really even the most successful or anything like this, but I have done a few things right and some things wrong, obviously. But with the launch, I have a high profit business, and I don't really rely on any launch or anything like this. If it goes well, even now, I'm in a very comfortable position because I kind of put a lot of things out there with kind of the affiliate marketing, have different revenue streams. I have some investments as well. So even, let's say someone want to join VSM, I'm very honest with them. I'm like, I can turn people away. I don't rely on this. Yes, like $1,000 or $2,000 is great depending on the level you go for VSM, but it's not really gonna change my life at this point. I'm not gonna upgrade my lifestyle if I get 10 more students or something like that. That's not really what I'm doing. It's going to, some of the money goes obviously to improve the program. We're creating more templates and stuff like that. But other than that, it's like a great resource. It's more for you that you have this resource available, to be honest. So that's kind of how it is. I'm not like some multimillionaire or something like this, but I have a pretty good, I'm pretty set for where I'm at right now, and growing different aspects, like different revenue streams. That's kind of what I'm pretty excited about, to kind of have different sources so I don't rely on anything like that. That's kind of how I prove myself from failure or from something not going as planned, because a launch or a funnel or something like that in the business, might not work. Sometimes it doesn't go as planned. Maybe a summit doesn't, hit home as I wanted to, or something like this, and then you have the other revenue streams kind of that backs it up. That's kind of what I'm more excited about, to have different sources of income, basically.
Yeah, super smart. I mean, I've been reading some finance books, and they talk about allocation as being the most important thing. You can't rely, like Navid said, on one source alone. But obviously, online businesses, as you learn about that, then you're going to find out there's many different ways to make income. Navid, you've talked a lot about you've hired different people to help you, and I wonder, how many hours do you think you're saving by hiring people to help you in the different facets of your business and your life? How important is that to living the life that you want to?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I was probably not the best at it, but I think there's two aspects. It's kind of the business side, which you can hire. I love onlinejobs.ph. It's a great resource for hiring great people. Like, not, they have, master, they're sometimes smarter than me in some regards, like different things, right? So like, and they have like different skills, like automation. You can hire them for, be your assistant, be your editor and stuff. I mean, all this kind of stuff. I have an editor, I have a graphic designer from there. I have like assistant and stuff like this. I have hired from there, and you can get people from anywhere from like $300 all, around $1,000, maybe if they're really experienced. Like, for example, for a video editor full time, you can get them for like $800 a month. For a assistant, really good assistant, maybe $500 a month, $500, $600. For a graphic designer, anywhere $400 to $600, $700 a month, depending on kind of how their experience and stuff like that. So that's kind of, that saves a lot of time. I don't even know, because I don't know all these skills, and I'm learning more about video editing and all this kind of stuff. But for other side of things, like for doing more kind of films, like travel stuff and filming my stuff, but for kind of this side of the business, then I have an editor, I have graphic designer, stuff like that. I just told him, put up this thumbnail. I forgot to create a thumbnail yesterday. He just created it in like 15 minutes. This one you saw probably before I went on live here, or if you're coming on for the replay or recording, then you might see it as well. And obviously the personal side as well. Like, I mean, you can hire a personal trainer, like, to be more motivated. You might be really motivated already to go and work out. It's great for your health and fitness and all this. And if you can afford it, obviously a personal chef. I tested this for a few months now, and it's great. Maybe I'm gonna go back to cooking some of my own meals, and maybe I'll go back. So it depends, because I enjoy some variety as well in things, because it got very, like, I don't like always having people running around. Have like 2 days a week she's coming here and stuff, which is great. But at the same time, I sometimes want more flexibility to go out and stuff like that as well. Now that Panama has opened up, so I'm probably gonna see if I continue. But at least the option is there. It saves quite a lot of time, to be honest. But if I didn't have her, I would still have someone to do my shopping. I mean, you have online shopping probably in UK, US, Canada and stuff. Here is a little bit more difficult. You can still get deliveries, but it's not as easy. So I would probably have someone else to do that shopping, like have a list or something. I would never go myself for hours to do that. I would never. That's how much I value my time. I would not do that shopping. Go to the different stores here, and because I don't even have a car or something like this here. I mean, I could go with Uber or something, but I'm not gonna go to many stores like this and do my shopping. Not my way of doing things.
Yeah, definitely efficiency is key, and putting the time where you want it to go for sure.
Yeah.
Navid, we've talked a lot about several key tips to be successful and to live the life of your dreams. What do you think is one key to having a long-term business that will sustain for many years to come?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this since 2013. It was a hobby in the beginning, as I said, so it's not really a business by any means. But 2014 things took off. Every single year since then, I've been making high six figure, multiple six figures in revenue, pretty much, or like started 200K, then around been between anywhere 500K, 600K, something like this. But I made over time millions of dollars, and I've been pretty smart with the money I made in my business. Not like over hiring and stuff like this, and some stupid mistakes I made at times, like different moves I made have costed a lot of money. But some with this, like you have to make sure you stay focused on kind of what you want to do. Like I, for example, stay pretty focused on VSM for quite some time, and that's why I have a lot of successful students. And most people in VSM, they would say, if you ask them, they would recommend the program. I wouldn't say 100%, but at least the most people, they would recommend the program because of all the resources and templates and everything we provide and the dedications I put in over the years. And obviously that pays off. I mean, it's not just like, I mean, I basically just reached out to Merban like a few days ago. I got this idea. I haven't been live for a little while, and I wanted to do something like this on my channel, and he said, yes, let's do it. And that's not something you can do if you don't have a good relationship with your students and the people you work with in your business, or your peers, your colleagues. Or I see myself on the same level as my students. I don't see myself above a student. Or if someone reached out to me on even on Facebook. Obviously, we don't do support via Facebook and stuff like that, but I've had many people reaching out to me via my personal Facebook, and I just respond that you probably wouldn't get that from most people who sell any programs and stuff like that, right? And that's kind of how I've done it from the beginning. I've kind of built relationships with my students and see them more as friends, rather than like, I don't see myself above them because I have this course or something like this. That's kind of, I think that's important when you build anything. Like you gonna have this build friendships with people instead, like whether if you're selling online or whatever you're doing. And then the focus, as I mentioned, the focus has been key to, at least with VSM, to make that successful, but also with summits and with affiliate marketing. I have some videos on YouTube. Even though I don't have a lot of subscribers, there's some videos on YouTube that every year makes $30,000, $40,000 in revenue because of the qualified leads they generate, and obviously that adds up over time. So stuff like that, stay focused. I would say virtual summits has been great for me. I'm not saying it will be the best for you, but I think if you want to grow your email list and you want to build relationships with influencers and basically ticks those boxes, you want to make some revenue, I think it can work. It's like it can work in any market, it can work at any stage of your business as well. And then when you have hosted a summit, you can go into other things. I'm not saying social media is bad. Social media is great. Like especially like YouTube, I think is amazing because it's the organic. You can like rank on YouTube and you can social up in Google and stuff. You don't need a ton of subscribers to do well. I think that's been good. And then obviously the blog, I like kind of the organic side of things. But then obviously Instagram, I haven't been personally as active there. I'm going to be more active as we go with this, sharing more kind of the stories and lifestyle and stuff like that there, more kind of tips and stuff. But you can't do everything. You don't need to do everything. But the most important thing you have that you own is your email list. And I built that by doing summits primarily. And that's kind of how you can do it too in any market. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome, Navid. Yeah, it's just a great program, and as we've talked about before, I started with less than 1,000 subscribers and like boosted that to around 20,000. That's pretty much all through summit. So it's been really fun for
A
me.
similar
And
position as me, right? I mean,
yeah,
I kind of maybe you were a little bit more with the podcast side. You had done that. You had done the blog. You were thinking about doing an ebook even, but
yeah,
I think it's just like yes, summits is a little bit more work. Yes, it's more work to put together the summit. I would say like give yourself a 90-day period or so to do it.
mm,
Some people take a little bit longer, some people have taken less, but who cares, right? If you're gonna get 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, even 10,000 subscribers, some people get even more subscribers, right? Depending on where you're starting, and then 5 figures in revenue, or even 6 figures, even high 6 figures, 7 figures, or taking your business to the 7 figure level. You can do that with virtual summits very quickly. It's kind of a vehicle to business success. It can be a business model. We have many students who've done, I don't know, we have students who've done over like dozens of summits, like just for their own brand. Obviously, we have consulted with dozens of summits. I've done several for my own brand, and then I've been behind the scenes of many summits. I've kind of seen it all, and we basically we provide all of these tips and strategies in Virtual Summit Mastery and what we do, even in some of my free content here on YouTube, which you can find. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit a like if you enjoy this here, and obviously on my blog we have in-depth guide, like 16,000 words and stuff. But if you want all the templates and the done for you resources, the only place you can find that is in Virtual Summit Mastery. So yeah, do we have anything else here? Any questions? Anything in the chat? Let's see if we have anything coming in, and then we can see. I don't know if you had anything else for me, Mervan.
yeah. I mean, while we're looking, I was just curious. What are some of the really unique niches that you've seen your students have or host virtual summits in?
I think the one that surprised me the most, the first time I heard it, at least, well, I remember her like to this day, Diana. She was actually
Yeah.
messaging me in the live chat. And I responded myself. So I was like, "Ah, so you're doing this in the harp niche." I didn't like question her, and I was like, "How's this gonna work?" I was like thinking to myself a little bit, "How is this gonna work?" But yeah, she was like really convinced. So she joined because I didn't have as many. I had quite a few case studies at the time, but nothing like this. She was very artistic and all this kind of stuff, right? And I was a little bit afraid how she's gonna do it. I don't wanna like take her money if she's not gonna do well, right? But she was so convinced, and she joined my highest teacher. I think she paid like 3 grand because she got coaching with me too and some stuff like this. And
Wow.
yeah, she's been doing really well. That was a cool summit in the harp niche, harp music. And what else? I would say tennis is pretty. I mean, it's not unique in that sense, but I think for summits, because it's a pretty practical thing, right? To show, and
Hmm.
same as kind of the harp, right? So you have to kind of show how you play the instrument. Also, we have had guitar. What else? What comes to mind? We have had a shooting summit, even like that
Yeah.
was pretty unique. Let me think. I mean, we had so many. I'm just kind of, yeah. I mean, insurance obviously maybe not as unique, but anything comes to mind to you? Vertical farming. We
Uh,
had someone do vertical farming.
oh, wow. I mean, like, great, like a lot of Green Summit.
Yeah.
I mean,
There was an Eat Your Dirt summit too, like about kind of
yeah,
gardening and stuff like that, which was pretty
yeah,
cool. I mean, any niche can work, to be honest, as long as there's an online audience for it. I think there's no niches. I think there's many niches that haven't been done. If I had the time, I something I'm really interested in is sneakers. I would do like a sneaker summit or
mhm,
something like that,
be
sneaker
awesome.
expo. That would be amazing because there's a lot of,
Yeah.
at least, especially now with everything that's going on in the world and stuff like this. I think it's good, like you're seeing all these offline events that like niches or markets, they have everything offline. They are coming more online, but maybe they haven't really adapted to the new world, like the new way, which virtual events, virtual summits, it's definitely the new way, right? They know, like, you need to have that in your business in some way. You're not just gonna, if you're relying on offline events, you can't anymore. Like you can get shut down any moment. So I think, like,
Yeah.
for sneakers, for, like, for example, even skiing, and there's so many, snowboard, there's surfing. I mean, you can do a summit on these stuff. If you worked on tennis, like, you can do a surfing summit, you can do a snowboard. Maybe that's one of your interests, or maybe you're a coach in this for kids or something. Maybe you can do that. There's obviously one of my passions, football or soccer. I'm really interested in, or American football. You can also do that, obviously. So there's tons of different things you can do summits on. Pretty much anything we had in different arts niches. We've had, the list goes on and on, basically, for what you can do with this. obviously business niches and stuff, that's pretty more common. Health niches, even in the more competitive niches like health and fitness and stuff, you can do it, but you have to make sure your summit and what you're doing stand out. And that's kind of what we help you do more with the positioning and stuff like that in VSM, kind of to make sure you get the right speakers on board I mean, that's basically what I did from the very beginning. I mean, I started connecting with people. If I can give you one tip here, make a list of, let's say, 100 people that you in your market that you want to connect with. Kind of a dream 100. The concept has been going around. I think Russell Brunson talks about it. There's some other people talk about it as well. So kind of 100 people in your niche that you want to connect with, and maybe you want to interview, or that doesn't mean they need to be on your summit, but at least you put the contact details in, you do the research on them, you know them, you start building a relationship, you start connecting with them. I think that can be really valuable, because when you do reach out for a summit or for an interview, whatever it is, it's going to be a lot easier, because then they have probably paid attention to you, maybe from a message on Facebook or whatever it is, depending on where they hang out online or where you comment, right? So I think that's something I do on a consistent basis myself.
Awesome, Navid. Very good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Trying to see if is there anything else. I'm trying to see if there's any questions. Otherwise, I can ask you one more. But yeah, Navid, I really appreciate the insight. I mean, it's really motivating just to see, again, where you came from. Not an entrepreneur, just a normal dude, and then you just found, this passion. You associated yourself with, really successful people, where you wanted to be, and then you just kept thinking, and then you eventually found out that, hey, virtual summits are a really smart way to do things, and then you've built that into $1 million business, and educating others. And for somebody like me, I wasn't sure exactly what to do, like you mentioned with the ebook. And then I said, you know what, I'm seeing a lot of people who are doing way better, with virtual summits, and they're doing it in all these different niches. And I got really convinced, the more success stories that I saw. And, it's enabled me to be very comfortable now financially. Fortunately, I still am at my current job. We've talked about it, but I've got to
You're
set
more
that.
comfortable. I mean, you like your job too. That's a different thing. I hated my job, and my path, so that's different too. So if you like your job, it's good. You can have a side income, right? That's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not like one to. There's some people on YouTube and other places. They just, hey, gotta quit your job. You're gonna do all that. That's bullshit. You don't need to
Yeah.
do that right away. You need to
Yeah.
see where you are. Maybe you're in my position. Maybe it makes sense for you to quit your job as soon as you get a little bit of success, right? But if you're not in this position, maybe you keep your job. Like, you can have a really good side income, like making maybe a 6-figure salary from your job, and then every year you're making even more from your business. Like, I mean, you're probably about the same now, and I don't know, this year you're probably making pretty good from your business
Yeah.
as well, because you had a great summit, and revenue probably in the 6 figures this year. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Navid. One, perhaps the closing question, or maybe second to closing, but what, you've given us so many great tips, but what in your mind is the key to hosting a successful virtual summit? If you just had to pick, one overarching concept.
I think one of the most important things when it comes to hosting a successful virtual summit, first of all, you're gonna have a clear goal, what you want to accomplish with the summit, like, and start with the end in mind. Like, a lot of people, they just start with, okay, I'm gonna put together the summit, just put some speakers together, whatever the summit is. Kind of, I guess, a little bit how I thought about it for my first summit, to be honest. Although my first summit turned out to be very good, because I guess I had something in the back. I know where I wanted to go with it. But let's say it's much easier. You say, okay, maybe you don't have an online course now, or a membership site, or a coaching program. That's okay. I didn't have any of that for when I hosted my first summit, which is good. You don't need that. Best is to build an audience first. But you need to think, what do you want to do? Is there an affiliate product you can align yourself with afterwards? Because remember, the summit is the very beginning of the journey, of the customer journey. So they are coming in. What's the next step? Usually the summit is pretty inexpensive, right? They sign up for free. That's kind of the model. You build an email list of buyers. They, as percentage of them pay for the upgrade, the premium pass or all access pass, maybe, if you follow VSM, anywhere from like 6% to 10%, sometimes even more. We've had students go doing 21 to 30% in the upgrades for some unique niches. But in most cases, like 6 to 10% is very good if you can do that from like the free subscribers to paid. And that's basically what you want to do. And then you want to make sure what comes afterwards is aligned with your summit. Like Chandler Bolt, I mentioned him, self-publishing success summit was perfectly aligned with whatever he's doing in the back end with self-publishing school. That's why it converted so well. It doesn't have to be as close like with a name and stuff. That's not the most important thing. But if you're doing something, make sure your summit actually build you're gonna generate the audience you want. You're gonna attract the audience you want, have the right speakers. So when you come there in the back end, you want to promote something, an affiliate product, you want to promote your membership site or course or coaching program, high ticket service, whatever you offer. It can be a software too, actually. I mean, Teachable and companies like that, they're doing summits, right? It's everyone pretty much doing virtual summits these days. And then you're going to make sure the summit is aligned with whatever comes next, whatever that kind of next step is. I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, keep your summit niche. There's some more things you can find, obviously, on have a masterclass, summitmasterclass.com you can sign up for. I have some great resources here on YouTube and then on my blog as well over at navidm.com. So you can find a guide and some other resources there with some great tips and kind of what to avoid and stuff like that when it comes to hosting virtual summits. So I don't know if there's anything else, Merban, here.
Yeah, that's about it for me, Navid. Was just, I guess you kind of mentioned this already, but any other platforms that are really good for people to connect with you that they should visit?
I mean, YouTube, subscribe. You're on here already, so I guess subscribe. I
Yeah.
mean, here I'm gonna do more content on here. So subscribe, like the video here, turn on notifications. Otherwise, I mean, Instagram. I'm Navid Moazzez everywhere. Basically, if you want to follow me, I do sometimes stories, and I'm gonna post some more on my Instagram at Navid Moazzez. I have my website, obviously, I told you, navidm.com. So it's pretty simple. So you can just find a lot of resources there. We have reviews, we have, guides on summits and some other stuff on there as well. And then summitmasterclass.com. If you really want to learn a little bit more about the process, like the step-by-step process, and learn more about Virtual Summit Mastery, that's coming up pretty soon. So go sign up there if you're interested. So that's basically it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Navid, it's always a pleasure talking with you. You've been, tremendous help. I definitely wouldn't be where I am without VSM and your help, and just a great community. And definitely super happy that I made the decision to join the VSM community, and it's helped me a lot. So thank you, and always happy to ask you questions and talk with you online. So it's been a lot of fun, and I hope everybody has enjoyed hearing how one ordinary man has created the lifestyle of his dreams. So you can do that too, if you just have a vision and have passion and move forward.
Yeah,
So thanks.
appreciate it, Merban. And to everyone coming on here, thank you. And if you're coming on for the replay, just leave a comment with your biggest takeaway. If you have any questions, do let me know. You can reach out to me there as well. And it's not always easy, even though, I have accomplished some of my dreams. I have a lot of more goals. It's not like an end. It doesn't just end. You accomplish one thing, you achieve your freedom, you quit your job, whatever that is. Like after I quit my job, my next goal was to, like I quit my job, I turned my business into 6 figures. Then it was more to help students. And I have now a process down to the science, how we help a lot of students. Like my program keeps generating case studies, whether or not I'm active. I'm obviously pretty active in the community, but even if I'm not, it's still because we have all these templates and stuff like that in there, and our students are doing really well with this. And that's kind of what I've done over the years. And then like the goals kind of change over time as well. And some moments are hard, some moments are easier. So, and that's kind of what I want to leave you guys with here. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and hopefully some of you will join Virtual Summit Mastery if you're already in the program, obviously. Already, hopefully you're doing well with everything with the summit world, because a lot of people are doing summits right now, and I think it's the way forward. A lot of people are, turning into online methods for generating leads and customers, and virtual summits are the best way to do so. So thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks, Merban, for interviewing me on here, the first one ever we're doing something like this. So thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Ciao for now. Bye.